to do that first. This year was supposed to be the school district office. The board waived that because of our economic times and because we wanted to see if we could help the town get the fire station through. The town has voted 7-0 on both the budget committee, and I believe that the town council has also voted unanimously to support the fire station. I know that the school board would be happy to take a vote on that, and we wanted to back off and make sure some of those capital funds were available for the fire station to help our infrastructure up near the airfield. I think we can look to other areas for space. I was on the building committee for the town hall office. In retrospect, we should have looked at that and encompassed that for both the school and the town. Mm-hmm. I think there's room enough in there for the school district to move in. They don't use that much space today.
Really?
The school district doesn't use that much space today.
Oh, I know they don't, but that's interesting.
One of my customers is Stonyfield Farms.
Mm-hmm.
They just built a new building, and they have office space in there, and it's open concept office space. And they find that it encourages cooperation between departments. People work together, they can get all of their work done, and they can get a lot more people in the same amount of space. And to me, I think that if we had less walls, fewer bunkers, and we would have more collaboration between departments within the town, or even between the town and the school.
So do you see that as something that you would push for, as collaboration between the two entities?
Well, it's one of the options. I came up with this 10-2-5 concept of 10 leaders, 2 CEOs, and 5 ideas. And it floated at the end as the 6th idea that I threw out on the table, that this would be something that we could do. I almost hate to lose the clam shack, though, because it's almost a badge of honor.
Well, I think that we could put a coffee shop there.
It's nice to be able to, well, you know what it is? It's nice to be able to point to that and say, it's students first.
Right.
It's children first. Right. We're not in any better space than any of our children are in. As a matter of fact, our children are now in much better space.
Yeah, they are in much better
than
spaces
the district
than you
offices.
are, than the district offices.
I guess I think we have to do something with the district office, and we've had a lot of ideas that have been floated around there, and I think it's once we get to the time to put it in there. I'm on the CIP committee, and one of the things there is we want to make sure we're not hitting the taxpayer with all these capital improvements at one time. So you look at it, you rate the programs, and you come out to where the building is. One of the things that we do very well is I think we go out there and we get our architect engineer fees up front. We get the design there, and then we go out for a guaranteed maximum price building. We've done that on every one of our buildings, and all the buildings have come in under budget that way. So we've been very, very fortunate to do it that way. So I think that's one of the areas that we go there. I also believe, as you know, we have to speak of the technology, but I think Sean has been an excellent addition to the staff with new ideas. The end boxes that he presented there, where we can take one of the computers and hook up 3 or 4 boxes there. I mean, I am so excited about that, to increase the computing capacity of the district and not have to buy separate computers on every desk type of deal. I think there's a lot of innovations over the next few years where we can get technology in there. I think the economic times needs to be right for the district office to go, and I think that's the biggest thing that we look at. I mean, ultimately, it comes out of the same pocket. All the taxpayers have to pay for it. So we've got to be cautious of what we put up there. The fire department, in my mind, is #1 right now. They have to get the North Station renovated, a new fire department, a new fire building up there. I think that's the primary area. I think that's dangerous up there.
Could I add to that on Ron's issue? You know, there are 2 sides to the taxpayers. They have 2 pockets. Comes out of the same pair of pants. But there's also 2 sides. There's expense and there's revenue. And the school district is obviously a very large expense item. We're $60 million to the taxpayers. There's also the revenue side, and that is to bring in appropriate industrial and commercial development. And I know I sound like a broken record on that, but the school board works in leadership positions and tries to help and assist with that. I know that I'm working as a free consultant, providing some marketing information, press releases, trying to get this economic development, get the stimulus package brought into Londonderry. Ron is on the committee to to help do the same thing, to bring in development to, to the community. So if we could find a way to increase our growth, and we're having good growth now. We have growth with Stonyfield. We have growth with Insight Technology.
And Coca-Cola.
We have growth with Coca-Cola and Freezer Warehouse, and Falling River's going to break the ground in the next 2 months. I hear we may even get a cell tower in the next 2 months. But on creating revenue that does not bring children into the community, we can help with that. We as leaders in the school board, we can help with that. We don't have to just be focused on the schools. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Is there anything else you wanted to, this is your opportunity to let the voters know, what your future holds, what you want to bring to the school board for the next 3 years?
Would either of you care to go first?
I think the camera wants him to go first.
Okay, I guess over the next 3 years, what I am looking for, my goals would be, again, is curriculum and appropriate instruction, and improve in those areas. We constantly are looking on how to improve. A couple of things that we've done, and I want to make sure that we continue, is we put together a textbook replacement program. And part of the textbook replacement program is that we're also looking at the curriculum. So the curriculum comes up for review on a regular basis. That's something that wasn't in effect 8 years ago. Now we have that. Make sure that the curriculum is consistent amongst the schools at the elementary level and amongst the classrooms. We're getting better at that with the toolkits that the superintendent has put into place. I'd like to see that continue. I'd like to see that to go paperless. Those are a couple of the areas to do that. Teacher instruction, I think, is fundamental in our area. We constantly have to look at teacher instruction. We have a large majority of our staff is over the age that they can retire or have enough benefits to retire. Once they start leaving, is how do we bring new teachers in, how do we train them, and how do we get them up to speed? I think those are areas that we have to look at. I think that's going to hit us in the next 3 to 5 years. Look at that. I think those are areas that we need to look at. I think the other 2 projects that are on the horizon are the school district office, and I think that's something that we must do, because I think there's unsafe conditions in it. I think they've been documented there, and we have to take care of that when the time is right. And then we have one item that's come up that we need to address as a community, whether we want it or we don't want it, is the auditorium. I mean, there's a group of people working on the auditorium committee. They'll probably start up in the next year or so looking for additional funds from outside the taxpayer. But that's something, when we have a band of 300 people, we have music, choir, orchestra, we need to have a place for them to show, or the community needs to take a vote to say, no, we do not want this. But keeping on our back burner is not the right thing to do. It's got to be, the community has to weigh in on this. It was brought over to the school district, we accepted it. We've made it a school district auditorium. It's just like any other school district auditorium. It's not a separate standing basis. It's just we're using the facilities around it to make it smaller.
Right.
So those are a couple of the items that I'd like to work towards, and always keeping in mind that we must maintain a focus on the budget. I think we have 2 issues that are going to come up very quickly. One is that we see the enrollment declining in areas. How do we manage that to make sure that we're doing it effectively? And the second part of that is we have a special education. We see different needs, more severe needs. How do we increase the focus on that? Do we bring in in-house programs? We find them to be very effective in the teaching of the programs and very cost effective. So those are areas that we need to look at to make sure we have the right staff to run those areas. Those areas I'd like to work on.
Would you like to go next?
An epiphany occurred for me a few years ago. It was the year Paul Margolin was running for office, and he stepped down. He decided not to run. And it was in one of the old style, they called it a debate, but it really wasn't, where the people would present their positions. And a mother came in and asked me quite emphatically, who's the incumbent? And I said, well, that would be Paul, but Paul's chosen not to run.